All right, everybody. Welcome to another interview we got here. We got UNI starting center Austin Phyfe here with us today. How are you doing today, Austin?
Good. Just at home, living life right now. Not much else to do, but been good. Doing good.
What have you been doing since this whole coronavirus thing started?
I've been trying to keep myself busy. First couple weeks was kind of hard with just class, kind of adjusting to everything online. Not really having access to a gym to work out, so that was something that's been new to me for all I can remember. Always wanting to get in the gym and working out, but something just spend a lot of time with the family, which is something I haven't been able to do past 3-4 years being at college and everything. So I'm not taking it for granted and really enjoying this time with the family.
So other hanging out with fans, has there been any activities that you've been doing? Like you've been playing a lot more, like some more video games. You've been doing some in-home workouts. What else have you been doing at home?
Yeah, for sure. Those in-home workouts, our strength and conditioning coach, Jed Smith, has still been supplying us with stuff to do, doing that. So that's been good. And then just got a Nintendo Switch, so been playing that quite a bit, which has been fun. And then just been out fishing quite a bit, been golfing a couple of times. So just trying to keep myself busy and not stuck at home all day.
Did you happen to catch the NFL draft last night?
I did.
Who do you have? Who's your favorite team in the NFL if you have one?
I'm Packers guy.
Ooh, okay. That's been a hot topic for a lot of sports radio today. What do you think of the first round pick?
I mean, it surprised me. It's our first time picking a skills guy in forever, so that's something that I enjoyed. I would probably like a wide receiver, truthfully, myself, just to have another option, but just because I'm a big Aaron Rodgers guy, and I still think he's got quite a bit left in him. So, I mean, if he was more towards the end of his time, maybe just to show the guy ropes a little bit, but I still think Aaron Rodgers has quite a bit left in him.
Yeah, a lot of Instagram stories I was seeing last night, a lot of Packers fans were all saying we need to help Aaron Rodgers out. But This could be a good piece for the future. He might turn out to be something good.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's dive right into like the main thing. So obviously you're from Waverly, Iowa. Your dad went to UNI. Your sister went to UNI. Was that always the main choice? Was UNI? You're just guaranteed to go to UNI, or do you have any other offers coming out of high school?
Yeah, I had quite a few coming out. UNI was my first. They offered me end of my freshman year, so really early actually. And it was just one that I talked to my family about and things like that, and they didn't want me just to go to UNI because that's where they went and it was close to home. They still wanted me to seek out other options. They didn't want to make my decision for me, so very thankful for that. But yeah, I took some visits. I visited Colorado, South Dakota State, Nebraska, Creighton, North Dakota, and Drake, just to see other schools and see those schools that offer me and things like that, just to make sure that UNI was always kind of in the lead for me. But it's kind of all I knew growing up with it, so I still wanted to see what else was out there. But just the coaching staff being close to home, having that kind of family ties to it was made UNI a pretty easy pick for me.
And as a UNI Panthers basketball fan, we are very grateful that you chose UNI. And with your dad playing at UNI, what position did he play while he was at here?
He was a power forward and center, just like myself. They had his name was Jason Reese back then. He might be the all-time lead scorer. He's up there, top 3 for sure. That played with my dad, so he was kind of in and out with him, playing the 4, and then maybe when he went out, he moved to the 5, so a little back and forth there, but about the same position as me.
And I was reading up something we talked about the draft a little bit ago with Chase Young. Apparently his dad's like 6'9". Is your dad a lot bigger than you, or are you guys about the same height?
He's 6'9" as well, so we're both about eye level. I passed him a little bit now though. So.
That's it. It's always nice to have a little something. I'm just past my dad a little bit ago too. So.
Yeah.
When you were in high school, did you play any other sports, or was it just mainly basketball?
I played football my freshman and sophomore year, and then just with my basketball recruiting picking up and stuff like that, I knew that football wasn't going to be what I was going to do at the next level, so just kind of safety restrictions, things like that. And then I also golfed all 4 years of high school.
What position did you play in football?
I was tackle for a while, and then also tight end, left tackle and tight end.
All right. And while you were at UNI, you're still at UNI. Obviously, you had some interesting things happen, mostly in your sophomore year. Could you explain what was going on with you during your sophomore season, true sophomore season?
Yeah, so it would have been the spring before, actually the summer before my sophomore year, and summer after my freshman year, however you want to look at it. I was doing good, just doing workouts, and then it was late August, no, late June. I just woke up on my bedroom floor one time after a workout. Wasn't really sure what happened. Kind of had some dementia. Had no idea what was going on. And so I went to the hospital, got checked out. All my heart rate, everything was looking pretty good. So continued on for a while. And then it happened again. And it happened like 3 times in a week where I just passed out, woke up on the floor. But I was always able to have I knew what happened before I knew what happened during the day. And so we just kept kind of going to visits, taking tests, and it just kind of kept picking up. And it went away for a while. Around the start of the season, I played a few minutes here and there at the start of the season. And then it started happening again where I'd pass out about 5-6 times a week. And just talking to specialists in hospitals, they didn't really know what was wrong with me at the time. And that's when we decided to take the medical red shirt and just kind of look more in depth into it for me my sophomore year. And then they diagnosed me with vasovagal syncope is what it was called. And it was just my blood flow just kind of staying down low in my legs. It wasn't getting to my heart, so my heart rate was slow all the way down and caused me to pass out and kind of re-spurt me for a second, I guess, re-energize me, get my heart rate back up once I'd pass out. So they're able to find that and get me on medications, and now I'm doing better.
Was there any scare that was there any doctors talking to you about you might not be able to play basketball again, or was it always you're going to come back next year and you'll be fine?
There were a couple because for a while they didn't know if it was my heart that was causing the problem or a blood flow thing. So all the heart doctors we met with, they always talked about how basketball might not be something in the future that'd be possible. But as we kept going and meeting with people, they kind of gave me a better chance of being able to play again. But there was always some uncertainty if I was going to be able to play again or not.
And going into this season, you were obviously coming off the injury, sat out a lot of the season. Luke McDonald started pretty much all the games in your true sophomore season. When did you find out you were going to be the starting center in your redshirt sophomore year?
Yeah, so we didn't have an exhibition game this year, which was a little bit different. We usually have one in front of the fans, but we had a couple scrimmages, and we got to go to Italy this past summer, which was big, I think, for myself too, just to get some game experience before the season, since it's been so long since I actually played a game. And through that whole process, we kind of rotated back and forth between who was starting. It would be him one game, me the other game. We just kind of rotate. And then once the season came, it was me that he kind of chose to start, and just kind of stuck with that the rest of the year.
And speaking on Luke McDonald, you, Luke, and Justin Dahl were considered the fan favorites up at UNI this past season. What do you think that reason is for you guys being so loved by the UNI fans?
I don't know for sure, but there's always something about just big guys that people can like. Big kind of goofy guys in a way too, and just having fun, getting the crowd going a little bit. They just that effort, maybe getting offensive rebounds, just those kind of plays that fans like to see. So just showing that energy and getting excited about things is something that I think all three of us have.
And going into the season this year, a lot of people had pretty high expectations for you guys going into the season, returning a lot of people that you had the season before. How are you guys handling the expectations at the start of the season? Was it something that was overbearing, or did you guys just okay, we got this, we know we're this good, we're going to be this good going into the season?
Yeah, I think early on it was definitely something that was a lot, having a couple down years for us. We were okay, we have the pieces to do it this year, but a lot of us haven't seen that successful season at UNI, for example. So it's definitely a lot, but once we got the team together, played some of those scrimmages, played those games in Italy, it just kind of started to get to us that we are a really good team and we can definitely meet these expectations.
And season kicks off, you guys are going, and then you have the Drake game, the sold-out game at the McLeod Center. What is it like? I was at both the Drake game and the Southern Illinois game that were sold out. What is it like playing in front of those crowds? Because being in the crowd, it's just insane watching, but what's it like actually being the thing people are cheering for?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, just like you said, being in the crowd, I'd grow up going to UNI games, so Seth Tuttle's senior year, they had about 6-7 sellouts, I think, when he was playing there, and I always got to see some sellouts from the stands. But just running out of the tunnel that first time, just the last 2-3 minutes doing our layup lines is something that don't take for granted for sure. I mean, once the game gets going, I kind of myself zone out the crowd as much as I can. But when you can just hear how loud it is compared to other games, you're going other places, it's not as loud. But when you need a defense to stop, you have the crowd behind you, you hear them cheering, and it's just something that's awesome. You can't take for granted.
And it's kind of crazy to think about. It's such a it's a small arena compared to like the Carver Hawkeyes, the Hilton Coliseums of the world. But when it's packed like that, it feels so much bigger than what it is.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that I think our arena is just about a perfect size for us because no matter what our crowd of the game, it never really looks empty, which is something I like a lot. And then once you fill it up, it feels just as big as any arena I've played in. So it's a lot of fun.
And you mentioned Seth Tuttle with his team getting a lot of sellouts in that season. He's on the coaching staff now. What's he been like as a coach now for you? As not as much as I'm looking up to this guy now. He's actually coaching me. What has that been like?
Oh, it's been huge for me. Just me being in the position he played as well, and him being very successful. He's been there. He's done everything. He knows what it takes to be a successful player and to be on a successful team. So it's something that has helped me greatly to become the player I am today, and just doing workouts with him here and there, and just not that I don't listen to other coaches, but I'd say it's easier knowing from someone that's been in that position and has had the success that he has.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to bring up a sore topic probably, but the loss to Drake in Missouri Valley Conference tournament put your guys' NCAA tournament hopes on a little bit of thin ice there. Do you guys think you were going to be an NCAA tournament team or deserving of an NCAA tournament spot, or do you think you guys were heading more towards the NIT this offseason?
Yeah, I think definitely if you look at our resume, if you take it, look at the whole season, I think we definitely deserve to be NCAA tournament team. At that time, I wasn't really sure if we lost that game. I know we were truthfully like on the bubble at that point. Some brackets you see would have us in, some would have us in the NIT as a 1 or 2 seed. So it's something that had been hard, especially with a bunch of games not being played for other conference tournaments. But I think on paper, if you look at what we did during the season, some of our games, I think we were deserving of a spot in the tournament, wherever that be.
And it was a really good season for not just the team, but for you, especially coming off of the illness of your true sophomore season. You were first team all conference, first team all academic conference, second on the team in scoring, led the team in rebounds. What was it like when you were just got in that rhythm? What did it feel like to be playing at that high of a level again?
Yeah, it was just something where my kind of motto this year was having that feeling last year, not knowing if I was ever going to play again, just to make it worthwhile when I do get the chance and just give it my all every game. And then just right away wasn't really bumpy, I'd say, but still a little bit new. But once I got into that rhythm, just got comfortable. We were winning games, and it was just one of those feelings where it just feels normal. You go out every night and do what you have to do and get a win, and it feels good.
I know a lot of people or a lot of athletes seem to struggle with this, but I find it so impressive. You can be named first team all conference in like your position and then also be named it in school wise. How did you manage to balance school and basketball so well like you did last year?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, all of us as athletes, we have the resources to be successful in the classroom, and you just really have to care about what you do, I think. Just getting those, because you are busy being an athlete, traveling, having practices in the morning, afternoon, having lift, doing all those types of things, but just really knowing what to do with your free time. If you're not in the gym doing something, knowing that you're probably from schoolwork to finish up, and just being able to have those coaches push me and check in with me, making sure that all my schoolwork is where it needs to be outside of the basketball thing, which is something there you don't want to tell a coach you did bad on a test or something like that. So just having that feeling, knowing that they're right there on your tail, is something that helps a lot.
And obviously with the season ending like it did, going to an NCAA tournament spot and then having it getting taken away from you with no postseason, let alone you might go to the NIT instead of the NCAA tournament. There's just no postseason basketball. What was that feeling like when you guys learned that the tournaments were getting canceled?
Yeah, it was something that sucked for sure, just not having it, especially ending it on the game like we did against Drake, dealing with that feeling after the season we had. But I really just felt for like our seniors that we had there, especially Isaiah Brown, because he never got to play in a postseason tournament in his time. People like Spence, JD, Luke, Lincoln, they were all on that team. They were all redshirts 5 years ago when they were at the tournament. They all got to at least experience that. And then feel, well, we were that close, and especially for those seniors, like for all of them, but especially Isaiah Brown, who just never had that experience, or even if we would have made the NIT, it's still postseason basketball, which is big, but just not having that experience or having the chance to get that experience again.
And if you could sum up the season as a whole, how would you sum up the season pretty much?
Yeah, it was one of the most successful seasons that we've had in a while. So something that's very good and happy to see. Being 16-0 at home is something incredible, and I hope that it keeps fans coming in the cloud. But it was one of those things where, yeah, it was a phenomenal season. It sucks the way it ended, but there's not much you can do about it in that situation. But I think we have a lot of young guys that will grow from the year, and we're going to miss our seniors for sure. But I think there's still a lot to look forward to for the next couple of years.
Yeah, and expectations, again, like this year, they're going to be pretty high next year. You're getting Mr. Iowa basketball, Bowen Bourne, coming up next year. How do you think he's going to fit in nicely with AJ Green next year?
Yeah, for sure. Just him playing that true point guard position, I think we'll be able to move AJ off the ball a little bit, which I think we'll be able to get AJ some more shots, actually. And then Bowen, whatever he averaged like 37 points this year. I know a lot of people are kind of hating on him, or he gets a lot of criticism on his size, but I've watched him play. He's played open gym and pick up with us before, and dude's a really good player, and he's unselfish, can pass the ball really well, and I think he's going to fit into our offense really well.
What are your expectations looking forward to next year? I know it's a little ways away, and you guys haven't had any practices together with the new team coming in. But if you could, what's your guys' expectations if you could think that far ahead for next season?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say just looking at our team from last year, we want everything we accomplished and more from last year. I think we could have another good chance of going undefeated at home, protect that home floor, and then winning the conference outright once again, and then of course winning the conference tournament and trying to make a run in the NCAA tournament.
And do you have any personal goals for yourself for next year? I know you had a very successful season last year. Is there anywhere you want to grow or improve on from this year?
Yeah, for sure. Always working on things. This past year coming back, I wasn't really as confident with my outside game I had for myself. From my freshman year, I had a little bit, but then just not being around the game as much kind of reflected that. So that's kind of what I've been trying to work on, just getting my game away from the block a little bit, still having that, but incorporating shooting some threes next year, penetrating a little bit more. But then award-wise, I'd just really like to try to make that first team list again.
And now I'm going to start getting into some more random questions, a little first thing that pops in your head type stuff, and then we'll wrap it up. So if you could rate this season out of 10, what would you rate it for the team?
I'd say a 9.
What would you rate it for yourself?
8.
Do you have a favorite player to watch on the team? Who's someone you're like, man, I love watching this guy play?
Gotta say AJ probably.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite NBA player?
Favorite NBA player growing up, I was always a big KG fan, but now anymore, I like watching if I'm thinking about my position, I like watching Jokic. He's a bigger dude, and he doesn't have the athletic ability you think everybody in the NBA has anymore. So he's just crafty, and I like watching some things that he does.
I love watching him and Luka Doncic because they just don't look like basketball players, but they go out and just kill everybody all the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have a best friend on the team?
I'd say I have 2. Taiwan was my freshman roommate, so we got really close during that. And then AJ Green and I grew up together. We roomed together every trip, so we've been through a lot, and having 2 more years with him is something that I'm really excited for.
I guess I didn't even really think about that, but what was you and AJ's matchups in high school like? Or if you guys played each other?
Yeah, we did. We played every year. They were awesome. I'm kind of the guy I like to, not that I'm not focused, but I like to have fun during the game, do things like that. So I would just remember trying to give him crap during the game, talking a little shit to him here and there, which is fun. But he's one of those guys that was focused, where he'd try not to laugh or do anything, try to keep a focused face. But we grew up playing AAU together and doing all those things, making road trips together. So just being able to play him in those high school games were a lot of fun, and both of our high school teams are very successful. So those games are a lot of fun.
He's just hooping. Hooping. Did you have a favorite game from last year?
I'd probably say either Loyal or Drake game at home. just in front of great crowds, and Loyola having the past couple years that they've been having, just that's always a big win. And then in-state game with Drake at home with in front of a sold-out crowd, something. It's a lot of fun.
You and Cameron Crowe, like that was just a matchup made in basketball. If you want to watch a big, good post matchup, that's the one you had to watch.
Yeah, I've been got to get to know Crut really well. We talk a lot during the games, a little bit outside of the games, and just a lot of people kind of compare us two together. And then we talked for quite a while at the awards banquet in St. Louis. So been able to make a little friendship there with him, which has been a lot of fun. Just makes the matchups that's probably my favorite person to go against in the conference, just knowing we're both bigger guys, both lefties, both kind of like to do the same thing. It's a lot of fun to play against him.
And do you have we talk about favorite game, do you have a favorite road arena that you love playing in, or it's just so hostile that just makes it that much fun to play in?
I'd say my favorite one to play in is probably Loyola, just because it's so compact. Mm-hmm. And it just gets really loud. It's not huge, and they don't always have a ton of fans there, but just how small it is, it gets so loud in there. And I myself like playing in front of a loud crowd. It just adds more excitement to the game for me. So that's the place I really like to play at.
Then you have, of course, you mentioned Loyola. You got recruited by Drake, but now big rivals with Drake. Who would you say is your least favorite team, or like, man, I just hate that team playing against them, or just looking at their colors or logo? I just hate looking at it.
Usually I'd say Drake, but I mean, it's an in-state rivalry, but something about Indiana State. I never liked playing, never liked going there and playing. I don't know, because I love Larry Bird too, love Larry Legend, but something about playing Indiana State, we statistically have never played like great against them. It's hard to pick up a win there, so it's one team I never like to play.
And did you have who's your least favorite team in high school out of the teams you played?
In high school, Cedar Rapids Xavier.
I interviewed Will McIlvain a few weeks ago. Okay. And I asked him this question: if you were made to wear one of the jerseys of Cedar Rapids Xavier or Indiana State, which one would you be like, fine, I'll wear that. I don't even put the other one near me?
Indiana State, I'd be okay with wearing.
Is there a reason why? Just because the hatred for Cedar Rapids Xavier is just so thick?
Yeah, it's not even like a hate. It's just from this kind of a high school, Iowa high school, when Catholic schools kind of do their thing and win big games. And then Indiana State, I was thinking about, I would always still be proud of rock a Larry Bird jersey. So.
Hey, I'm from Central Iowa. I went to Johnston. We're the same thing. You guys got your Cedar Rapids Xavier. We got our Dowling Catholic. We just don't like the Catholic schools.
Always some new guys coming in out of nowhere. I'm like,
you don't know where he came from, but he just got, man, oh wow, a senior running back that was just first team all state. Where did he come from?
Parents got jobs at the school. It's like, whoa.
And do you have any pregame rituals, whether it's been in high school or college?
Nothing crazy. I still like to wear like the same compression shorts underneath my jersey, things like that. Like do certain things with my socks, but nothing crazy. I guess always after the national anthem, I just do a little, because my grandpa died and things like that, and he was always a big fan. So that's something I always did, but it's just nothing else really crazy.
Is there any music that gets you pumped up for a game?
I'm actually I like any types of music, so I'll have like a playlist, but there's no like certain genre, just a little bit of everything.
Is there like music that gets played in the locker room at all?
Yeah, so we in our locker room, we all get to pick a song and it goes onto a playlist that plays in the locker room as we're getting ready and things like that. Then we also get to say in like the warm-up music out.
That was gonna be my next one, if anyone controls it, but since you guys all do it, so you get all different types, whether it be really bad or really good, you get all of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And my last one out of these ones, who's your favorite sports talk show host? Now you could say this one, you don't have to, but if you want to say this one, you could say it. I'm not gonna make you though.
I don't know I mean, Jay Billis is always someone I like to listen to. I think he knows his stuff pretty well. I don't love him, but I always just like it's always entertaining to watch Stephen A. doing anything.
Yeah, true.
So, I mean, I think a lot of times he just says some stuff just to get people going, but him and Kellerman going at each other. But I'd say Jay Billis usually knows what he's talking about. That's something I like, just someone who actually like knows their stuff.
Yeah. And that's all I've got for that. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap this thing up?
I don't think so. Just thank you again, and should be a fun year next year.
Yeah, I thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. This is Austin Phyfe sign off. I will see you later again. Thanks for joining us, Austin.
Thank you.